Hey, what's up everyone? It's 2D Toys and we're back with another review. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button and the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. We got tons of great content coming your way, like this guy. And for today's figure review, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Magneous. And of course, like we always do here, we'll start off by taking a quick look at the packaging. We'll slide him in just a little closer here. You got the Legacy United logo there up top with the cardboard hanger. Here on the side you have his name, the Hasbro logo, Deluxe Class, and the Legacy United logo there again. Of course, front and center here you got a nice image of Magneous in his alt mode. And there we can see the figure. Transformers, the Generations, and Karl up the side here. Of course, on this side, you got the gorgeous 40th anniversary artwork here that we get from Legacy, which looks really nice. The back, just a couple product shots here. You got Magneous in his alt mode, his robot mode, or rock mode, or whatever he's supposed to be. And here he is all broken apart. And of course, he is an Armorizer, so there's a shot of some of the things you can do with him all broken apart. On this side, you got a nice artwork image, full body shot there of Magneous, and a close-up on the head sculpt there. It looks really good. On the bottom here, nothing much, just the barcode, your words. And I think that's about it for packaging. We won't waste any more time on this guy. Let's get him open and check him out. And here we have Magneous opened up and out of his packaging. We'll get him in a little closer here so we can take a look at some of the details. I love the way this head sculpt looks. It's got a nice asymmetrical design there on the crest. Looks like it's broken off on this side, so that looks really good. Got some black there for the faceplate and a fantastic shade of gold for the eyes. Looks really good. And of course you got all this molded detail here on the sides, details here along the chest. See the wheels hiding in there. Faceplate's really the only paint you're going to see on this guy, but he's covered in molded details. And not only do you have these shards, rock shards here that are molded in, but it also has some surface detail. If I can kind of get the camera to pick some of that up. Looks really good. And just more of the same here down the arms, back of the hands. All that molded in detail here for the torso. A little bit of black paint here for these vents on the kneecaps. And tons more of that sculpted detail on the legs, the feet. Even without a lot of paint, the amount of sculpted detail on this guy comes across really nice. Bottom of the feet are textured as well. That's really about all there is to say on this guy. Paint on the head sculpt, and then the molded details all through the body. And even though it's all the same, I still think it comes across really well. And taking a look at some of Magneous's accessories, this pickaxe here is really the only true accessory he comes with. But I included some of the other stuff. Nice sculpted detail on this as well. No paint whatsoever, just this dark gray. But a decent amount of details nonetheless. And then you have the cab here for his car mode, which actually doubles as a shield. See some nice grading there for the windows. Good job with the silver lining around them. All that looks really good. And then some more of that rock detail there on top. So decent enough. And then you have these little pieces here that just look like more rock detail. They can go on either the back of his arms or the back of his legs. So I'm kind of counting them as accessories since they are removable. And you can kind of pick and choose where they go. But they look nice enough. Molded nicely, no paint. And for the axe here, it'll just peg into his hand. Normal peg style. and he'll hold it just fine. Now, there is a peg here on the inside, so I guess if you didn't want to put the car part here on the back, you could also peg it onto his back as well if you want to use it for storage. And for the car roof section here, you have a peg on the inside that he can hold in his hand, so you can kind of use it as a shield accessory, or you can also peg onto the back here as well. For storage, or to fill out some of the back, so that looks nice. And for these extra armor pieces here, he comes packaged with them already on the back of the arms, but I'll show it again here anyways. I'll just plug on the back of the arms here for a little extra detail on the back there. Fills him out a little bit. Or you can also remove them. You have a tab here in the back of the legs and a slot there. You can attach them onto the back of the legs as well and kind of fill in some of those hollow spaces. So that actually looks really nice. And in his alt mode, his pickaxe. You got two tabs here, two slots on the back. And just peg onto the back there for storage. And if you don't want to just store it, you can remove this section here off the back. And we'll split these apart. And then the axe will just plug into these sections here. Got a slot there on the bottom of the feet. Like that. And this can just plug into the front of the vehicle here. Then you have a battering ram style vehicle going on. And let's move on to some articulation. We'll start with the head sculpt up here. It will swivel a little side to side. Technically no up and down, but it is on this flap here, so you can get a little bit out of it. Shoulders to get you out to about there. And full rotation at the shoulder. Rotation at the elbow. Single jointed elbow gets you about 90. And then you got some wrist rotation and a little bit in and out due to transformation. Got a waist swivel. No ab crunch, although with the way the transformation is, I guess you can cheat it and get a little bit back if you're willing to break the sculpt, but no forward. Nice range in the hips out. Get you up to about that far and back to about that far. Swivel at the knee. Single jointed knee will get you a nice deep bend. And you got some toe up due to our transformation. A little bit of toe down. And you do get a rocker going both ways. So that's all really nice. I will say, if you are going to use those extra armor pieces in the legs here, it'll only get you about 90. You'll have to remove them if you want to get the deeper bend out of it. So about standard articulation for a deluxe. So nothing really to complain about there. And size-wise, Magneous is coming in about 5.5 to the top of the head. And here he is standing next to the other Infernac universe character, Boulder Crash. And here he is standing next to some of the other modulator style figures. And here we have Magneous compared to some other class sizes with a Voyager class Optimus Prime and an Elite class Grimlock. And let's get Magneous transformed into his alt mode. And I think the way we're going to do it is we'll get him all the way transformed into alt mode, check out some of the details there, and then we'll get him broken apart and look at some of the Armorizer stuff. Let's get into it. And here we have Magneous transformed into his alt mode. There's not going to be a lot to look at here. Pretty much all the same in robot mode, but we'll just glance over it here real quick. You see the bumper there is detailed nicely. And all that rock detail. These extra armor pieces come through nice. I like the way that the wheels are mostly covered. That looks really good. And pretty much all that same rock detail around. And of course you can see the paint here for the canopy. We already looked at in robot mode. And there's that black for the kneecaps there hanging out of the back. I do like that you have the option to remove this section here. And then he has a more traditional truck look there. And I actually think that looks pretty good. But that's really it for details in alt mode. Rolls like a dream. And size wise, looks like Magneous is about 4.5 bumper to bumper. And here he is next to Boulder Crash, the other release from the Infernac universe. And next to the Weaponizer Slammer. And next to a Fossilizer, so you can see how they all scale together. And we'll get into this Armorizer feature. So start off with, we're just going to pull a couple pieces off here. Take the cab off. Get these pieces off the side here. Those are a tight fit. And then we'll take this back section off. And we'll fold the arms out. And we'll remove those as well. And we'll set this piece off to the side. We'll see what we can do with it. And here we have all our pieces laid out. Now I know on the packaging it shows to use animated Bumblebee, but the instructions, they're using Optimus Prime, so that's what we're going to go with. I mean, obviously this stuff can incorporate into tons of different figures, and I'm sure in many different ways, but we're just going to go with what's shown in the instructions just so we can show it off here. So we'll start off by taking the feet sections here, and we'll separate those. And we'll just plug them back in on the axe like we did in vehicle mode. One on each side using the same pegs as earlier. That'll go in his hand. And we'll take the canopy section, plug that onto his shoulder. So let's remove this for now. We'll save that for the end. I'm going to take these arm pieces and we'll use this peg, the hole in the side of the legs, and those will kind of just bend out and around the wheel. And the same for both sides. And then we'll take these extra armor pieces and we'll just plug them in over the wrists. Like so. So you kind of have that leg going. And then we'll give him this hammer style weapon back. I will say he doesn't hold it very well. The peg's not quite long enough for him, but he will still kind of hold it. And we'll move up a little bit here so you can get a good shot of that. So not the greatest feature, but it is a thing, and that's what these guys do. I definitely think it would probably look better on a smaller figure, but it's not bad. And final thoughts wise, I think this guy looks great. Yeah, even with the lack of paint, I think the head sculpt looks really nice. And the molded details all over the body looks really good. They really leaned into that rock feel, and it comes through nice in plastic form. The build quality on this guy is pretty good. I got no QC issues. Everything feels pretty solid. And even for a deluxe size figure, he's got a decent amount of heft to him. All the plastic feels really good, and no issues in the joints whatsoever. Everything moves exactly like it's supposed to. Articulation wise, there's nothing really to point out here, but there's also nothing lacking either. For a deluxe size figure, he does exactly what you would expect him to do, and I have really no issues in the movement. The nice deep bend in the knees is an added bonus, as well as the toe up and toe down in the feet are all really nice. I'm glad that they included a wrist swivel, and I guess really the only thing I can complain about is I wish there was a little more articulation in the head. I wish it moved a little bit easier, maybe a little bit of side to side so you can get some more expression out of him. The transformation is fairly enjoyable. I like that you don't have to move a lot of the pieces to get this guy transformed from one mode to another. I know with a lot of the weaponizers, you basically had to disassemble the whole thing and then put them back together to transform him. But with this guy, everything kind of stays in place other than the canopy, and you can kind of just flip him back and forth fairly easy, and I actually prefer it that way. I think this guy looks really good in both of his modes. I'm really enjoying these original characters. It always amazes me a little bit to see what companies can achieve when they're doing something original and not confined by that predetermined aesthetic that they have to try to achieve. And I know it's something that'll never happen, but I would actually like to see some of these guys in a bigger class size. Maybe not leader, but Voyager size, and just see what they could achieve with the extra budget for paint and engineering, and just go with an original character and see what they can pull off. I definitely think if you have a section in your collection dedicated to just random figures like this that really don't fit in with any of your other Transformers, like this guy's definitely worth picking up. He's fun to mess with and he looks fantastic. And I think that's really all there is to say on this guy. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Also, hop down in the comments and let me know what you think about these Armorizer figures and whether you hope they keep going with more. As always, I'll leave at least one link in the description down below where you can possibly pick this guy up at, and I'll also leave the links down below for Instagram and Facebook if you ever want to follow us there. And as always, I just want to thank everyone so much for coming, hanging out, and listening to me ramble on about some of these figures. It really means the world to me, and I can't thank you enough. But I think that's going to about do it. Till next time, for the love of toys, we'll see you.